gamers.com.
Now, another little side note on this one was that the developer did not want a third-party company to make the guide for it. They felt that they wouldn't be able to handle it properly. So they then chose to put out the Morrowind Prophecies guide, done by somebody who was a friend of the company, Peter Olofsson. And they started to work on it before the game came out. So the idea there was that they would make a lot more money on that. So it's kind of like how the original Nintendo guides were. The ones that were the Nintendo Players Guides, published by Nintendo. So Bethesda ended up doing their own guide for it, and it was the official guide. Now I'll go a little bit more. I'll go into the Game of the Year edition content. It released on October 30th. The Game of the Year edition with both of the expansions, because to that point, really, Xbox Live hadn't really taken off yet. It was still in its infancy, and that was really the only way to get the content that was available on the PC version of this on the Xbox, was to release the Game of the Year edition. So what the Game of the Year edition did was it patched the original game, and then it added the extra areas and quests.
And yes, I am stealing. Don't do this at home, folks. Don't steal at home.
It's okay to steal in the game.
Just
don't do it in real life.
Yep.
See, I don't know why, well, a lockpick could be very useful.
Oh, extremely.
Now, do you want to take us outside, Luke, so we can get a look at the overworld?
Sure.
Maybe, give us an idea of, the scope of the outer world here.
So we can see just how ridiculously huge it is.
Yes, we definitely want to take a look at that. And as I said before, this is kind of based on a DirectX architecture. And that's kind of where the name came from. Because the original idea was that it was the DirectX box.
Ah.
The name Xbox kind of came from marketing. Whereas you'll have that with any major corporation. It doesn't have like this great story like the PlayStation because of what happened with Nintendo, or the way that they couldn't call it the Famicom in America because the family computer thing wouldn't work over here, or the fact that the Genesis had to be called the Genesis because they couldn't call it the Mega Drive.
Right.
So it doesn't really have a great story behind it. It was pretty much marketing's idea to go, hey, Xbox sounds good. Because DirectX box doesn't really sound that cool.
Yeah. Not so much.
All right. It's going to take us a minute to get outside, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. While we're waiting to do that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the origin of the Xbox, the launch. It was released November 15th, 2001 in North America, They released it February 22nd, 2002 in Japan, and March 14th, 2002 in Australia and Europe. The idea, it kind of had a pretty good takeoff here in the U.S. thanks to Halo. It pretty much went head-to-head with the GameCube, which released about 3 days later than that. The GameCube was actually supposed to release first, but there was some kind of delay in that, and the Xbox ended up releasing first. And it kind of had a really good holiday season in 01 for being the launch console. I mean, the PlayStation 2 was already starting to put some paces ahead of itself because of the year head start they had, but pretty much the release of the Xbox kind of gave the death knell to the Dreamcast and started to put the GameCube on warning even at launch.
And I'm gonna check the, I'm supposed to go to Balmora and find Cassius Cassettes.
Joe the Journal.
Yeah.
This game also has a journal system, which is your way of keeping track of all quests, different interactions. Here is a small portion of the world map. They just show you what you have seen so far. And as he showed you, this is a little blip of the area that you are in. Now, you want to center that or just show us? This is the whole area of Morrowind.
Well,
you can explore most of this.
You might run into some walls here and there, but for the most part, yeah.
I mean, obviously, they're not going to let you cover every little nook and cranny, but
close.
It's a pretty epic size for what it is. Is everybody an asshole in this game?
Oh yeah.
I'm just asking because... What are you gonna do? Pull out the ruler? She looks like one of those, like, angry school teachers that haven't got laid in 10 years.
Wow. You're almost doing as good as I am.
What? What? People are being jerks.
With my,
That looks like a mushroom. Is that a mushroom?
Yes.
Okay. Can you eat that?
I am collecting samples from them.
Okay, that's not something that's going to kill you, is it?
I don't remember. I'm going to have to try it.
Okay. But here's an idea of what the overworld looks like. As you can see, a nice, open, expansive map. Some decent textures for a game of this age. And the graphics aren't bad for a game that was released in 2002.
Oh, you know why they were being assholes? Because I had the dagger out, and they were like,
"Oh,
yeah,
I got it."
Because, well, it's rude to have the dagger out and just cruising around with it.
It's very rude.
It is very rude.
Alright. Do you think we've taken a pretty decent look at Morrowind here? Oh, we're in battle. What are you attacking? The hell is that thing?
It's a little worm.
Is the worm actually killing you? Boy, you don't really start powered up in this game, do you?
No, you don't.
It's not like those Final Fantasy RPGs when the bunnies show up and you just do a 6th attack on it. Of course, it takes a little bit to get Knights of the Round to use on the bunnies. So it kind of goes back to more of the traditional Dungeons and Dragons, where you really have to build up your character to get them to a point where they're going to be able to tear through things.
Yep.
It's not just going to be walk in the park right away.
No, but
Or
it's not terribly difficult if you know what you're doing to build your character properly.
Or also, like we said in Final Fantasies, where you run through that initial area and you're like level 7 by the time you're done.
Right.
Because they kind of set you up to where you can progress quickly.
And, like...
That would be a big difference between JRPGs and Western RPGs.
Currently I'm jumping, right? That will improve my acrobatics.
Looks like a hop.
Well, for where I'm at in what I just see? Down there in the bottom corner, your acrobatics skill has increased to 6.
Okay.
To 6, not by 6.
So just by it kind of works on the
whatever.
The more you use, the better you are at it.
Right.
At actual training.
That is correct.
Like, this game is so deep that we can barely even scratch the surface in the short time that we have here to take a look at it. I would definitely say, if you get a chance to, get yourself either an original Xbox, or I'm pretty sure this is a backwards compatible game for the 360.
Oh, God.
It may be available on the Live
Arcade. It
Arcade.
better be, because if it's not, there will be a whole team, a whole mob of people with pitchforks and clubs and torches that will be coming after Microsoft.
But granted, Oblivion and the and Skyrim, pretty much the sequels to this, I guess make it so you don't have to go back if you don't actually have to go back.
Well, the thing about Oblivion is they only have a certain mark for you to trade, whereas with this game you can trade to the point where you just keep bartering with said person, and you can eventually get the cash out of whatever it is you are working with.
Okay, and as you see, this has updated your journal.
Right.
Because you have obtained a quest.
Yes, now I must go find myself a bandit and attack him.
Alright, Luke. I think it's time for us to move on to another game.
Alright.
As much as we'd like to continue playing this, there's a lot more to see. Go out and find yourself a copy and give it a shot.
Sounds like a plan. Why are I'm not here?
Welcome back, everybody. Now we're taking a look at Panzer Dragoon Orta for the Microsoft Xbox. And this is created by Smilebit. Panzer Dragoon Orta is a sequel to the Sega Saturn games in the Panzer Dragoon series. As you see on the menu there, there's a Pandora's Box option, which gives you a lot of different things you can access, including the original Panzer Dragoon as an unlockable. One of the main things to talk about with this game is the relationship that Sega and Microsoft had in the early days of the Xbox.
I think their relationship began before that.
A little bit earlier than that.
Considering the Dreamcast had
Microsoft CE running on it. That was their
operating
system for the Dreamcast.
Only thing it ever worked on.
Rated T for Teen. A girl imprisoned, enslaved, deceived by a force so evil. She has no choice but to destroy it. And she is not alone. This winter, ride the winds to vengeance. Panzer Dragoon Orta.
For graceful fury, there's no power greater than X.